Welcome to part 2 of this lesson, where we'll finish creating the header of our theme, and we'll start with the navigation menu. Let's begin. Now, we do have this div class collapse, which actually holds the menu. But the thing is, we're going to use the WordPress menus to display a menu here because it's much better. It's not really recommended to use hard-coded menus like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to comment this bit so that we have an idea of what the markup should look like. And we're going to do PHP. By the way, if you're wondering how I'm doing these PHP tags, it's a snippet in Atom. If you go to Atom, open your snippets, you're going to see a file here. And you can see my snippet here, PHP tags. I do a prefix, and then I do the body like this. And I also have a multi-line snippet here, where I do PHP M, and then the content is set like this. So here, we're going to do this WP nav menu. And inside, we're going to put an array of options. Now, there are a bunch of options, but we're only interested in a couple of them. First of all, we're going to do the menu class. And for that, we're going to say menu class. And here, we're going to do nav, navbar, navbar right, which are the classes that you'll see here. Another parameter that we need is a theme location. And for the theme location, we got to create custom menus. Now, to create custom menus, we have to define them in functions.php. So, going back to functions.php, we're going to create a new section here, and we're going to say theme setup. And I'm calling this theme setup because we're going to set some other things in here as well. The first thing when creating a custom function here is to check if it doesn't already exist. Just in case you're dealing with a child theme, it prevents certain errors from occurring. So you're going to do a simple check. If not function exists, let's call this tuts theme setup. So in translation, if the function tuts theme setup does not exist, then we're going to create it. So we're going to say function tuts theme setup. And inside, we're going to start with the following. First, we're going to make the theme available for translation. And for that, we're going to define a variable. Let's call it langdir or language directory. We're going to use themeroot/languages. And then we're going to do a function called load theme text domain. And the domain we define is called tuts, and then langdir or language directory. Then something else we must do is add support for automatic feed links. To do that, simply do add theme support, automatic feed links. And this is useful for RSS. Next, we got to add support for post thumbnails, because if you remember from the index here, our posts have images attached to them. So we're going to achieve this functionality through post thumbnails. Add theme support, same function, post thumbnails. And then finally, we get to the part that we're interested in, which is the nav menus. And here, we're going to use a function called register nav menus. And we'll also have an array here of options. And the only option that we're interested in currently is the name of the menu. And we'll give it an ID here called the main menu. And then we'll give it a title. And the title will actually be a translatable string. We'll call this main menu tuts. And here you can see the function used for translatable strings. It's not _e, because we don't need to print this anywhere. Instead, it's _, which will make the string available for translation, but will not print it. That's what we need right here. And finally, we have to attach this function to another function. So we're going to do add action. After theme setup, we're going to put in our own function, tuts theme setup. Now, after theme setup is something that WordPress does. And what we're doing here is saying, if you're doing this function, also execute our function and make all of this happen. So load text domain, add theme support, and register nav menus. Okay, so once we've done that, we can go ahead in the backend here, and we can see that we have a error on line 36 in functions. So let's see. Okay, without that bit. Refresh. Now, if we go to appearance here and we're going to reload this, we should have been able to see another menu item here called menus. But let's see. So function, we're registering the nav menus correctly. Okay, tuts plus theme setup. Oh, sorry about this. After setup theme. Sorry, wrong function there. So now if we reload this, we're going to see a new option called the menus. And if we go here, we're going to see one location called main menu, which is exactly the name that we set here. So if we do this with an uppercase M and refresh, you're going to see that change reflected here as well. So let's go ahead and add a simple menu here. We'll see a menu name, main, and then home, blog, and contact. Yeah, and they all go to the pages that I've already created. So let's go ahead and save this. And it is set in the main menu theme location. So now what we have to do is go here, add another array item called theme location. And we're going to set this to main menu, which is the ID used here. We're basically saying, hey, load the nav menu and use the menu found at this location. All right, now let's do a refresh here. You'll see home, blog, contact, the pages that we need, and they lead to the correct pages. Let's see if we have the correct structure. So we're looking at something div class collapse, and then immediately followed by UL class nav. And here we have div class collapse, and then we have another div with a class of menu main container, and we don't need this. It's just extra added by WordPress. And we can easily get rid of it by using an option called container and set this to false. So now if we refresh, you're going to see that we have the div class collapse and immediately followed by the UL, which is exactly what we need. So now let's get rid of this bit. And with that, we've actually completed the header. So we did quite a few things in this rather lengthy lesson. Let's do a quick overview. So we started by using the getHeader function in index.php. Index.php is the template currently used by WordPress to display all of our pages. GetHeader loads header.php, which is this file. And in here, we pasted the HTML written by Corey, to which we did a few adjustments, adding the necessary WordPress functions in the head, here loading fav icons, adding WP head, this is really important, adding body class to the body, and then sorting things out with the navigation. Now, to make this happen, we had to create the functions.php file. We defined a couple of variables here, constants, not variables. And then we did theme setup, which is a function that sets things up for our WordPress function right at loading time. So what we're doing there, we make the theme available for translation. We add theme support for various features of WordPress, and then we register the nav menus. And that was it for the header. Now, as we move further down in the page, we're going to find the next elements we need to build, and the main content and the footer. We'll build those in the next 2 lessons.